Hello and welcome to the College Admissions Collaborative, highlighting engineering and technology college fair. We are so excited to have you participating in this event today. We have some fantastic schools with us that I am so excited for you to get a sneak peek and start learning more about. My name is Jennifer and I'm your facilitator. Before we get started, I do have a few housekeeping items for you. Your camera and your microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can, though, use that Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. You can direct your questions to a specific school or schools by including the name of the school in with your question, or you can leave a question for all of our representatives to answer about their programs. This is just one of many different sessions that are happening. We do have another round following this today of the 6x6 College Fair format. We hope you'll be joining us for that as well. Also know that this upcoming week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, CACHET is hosting a number of great panels and info sessions. If you haven't signed up for any of these upcoming events, we hope that you will still do so because it's such a great way to learn more. And you can, the registration, all of that's open at that same website where you registered for this session. So head there and check that out. Also know that this presentation, like all sessions, is being recorded. All of this recordings will be available at the same website where you register. So strivescan.com/CACHET. All right, I'd now like to turn it over to our first presenter and let them get started tonight. So I'm handing it over to Massachusetts Maritime Academy.
Well, hi, good evening, everyone. My name's Joanne Robertson. Give me just a moment to get my screen up here and share with you all. Okay, so let's see, get to, whoops, so many buttons, so many buttons. Well, I'm going to start at the beginning, which is our first slide, Massachusetts Maritime Academy, which is located in beautiful Buzzards Bay, Mass, right on the Cape Cod Canal. It's a really special place to go to school. And I'm going to talk to you, we are, exclusively STEM. So that is a great way to start for our CACHET event. Quick facts, we're about an hour south of Boston, 1,700 undergraduate students, and we're a public university of Massachusetts and a state maritime academy. We have a STEM-based education with a regimented campus life and 15 Division III varsity athletic teams. So we offer 7 spectacular majors, Bachelor of Science degree, marine engineering, marine transportation, facilities engineering, energy systems engineering, emergency management, international maritime business, and marine science, safety, and environmental protection. The most important thing to remember about a Mass Maritime education, we have a learn, do, learn philosophy. And experiential learning is a huge part of what we do at the Academy, very hands-on, STEM focus, but we offer careers on land and sea despite our name. The regiment makes us very unique. It's the way that our student body is structured. It's designed to build character and leadership skills. It enhances the academic programs and contributes to career success, and it acts as a leadership lab on campus. Our students, by the end of their term, can aspire to be what we call the regimental commander, which would put you in charge of over 1,600 cadets. Imagine putting something like that on your resume. We have campus life. Athletics is a big part of what we do, even though we are D3. We have very active athletic programs. As you can see here, we have the men's and women's teams in cross country, track and field. We compete in NCAA sailing, as you would think a Maritime Institute would, as well as crew, soccer, and lacrosse. We also have football and baseball for the men and softball and volleyball for the women. The Student Government Association runs all of our activities. We have club and intramural sports. And we have a special day each year called Emery Rice Day for one of our founders that the students get to dress down, take off those uniforms and enjoy themselves. And pop-up events are frequent, as in tomorrow, we're having empanadas and churros to celebrate Latin month. So that's one of our things that are going to happen on campus with the food trucks tomorrow. So what type of student are we looking for? There's an emphasis on your GPA and academic success. Looking for strength in math and science courses. 4 years of math is a must if you're going to apply to Mass Maritime. Oh, this is going too quickly. Hold on one moment. Our energy systems engineering and our emergency management are our most competitive programs. Energy systems engineering is our honors program. So therefore, you need to have a very competitive GPA for that program. You can apply online or via the Common App, and we are test optional for the fall of 2022. Sorry about that, folks. So we have a lot of virtual visiting programming this year. In addition to our on-campus events, we will have general info sessions. We're going to have cadet chats, and personal interviews are available through all of our with all of our admissions counselors. And we have a virtual tour that you can access at any time online. If you want to find out for other visiting opportunities, you can go to maritime.edu and visit MMA. We do have open houses scheduled for the fall. Our first one on October 11th is currently full, but we do have another one on November 6th, November 20th, and we have a special one for athletics on December 4th. So if you have any other questions about the school or you'd like to speak to a counselor, you can certainly get in touch with our Office of Admissions. There's the 800 number, and as well as admissions@maritime.edu. So I hope that you'll take a look at Mass Maritime with all the special experiences. We are a very different place to go to school, but the difference is what makes us strong. And thank you very much for listening to my pitch this evening.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for being here, starting us off and presenting on Massachusetts Maritime Academy. I'm very excited to introduce our second school of the night. We're going to be learning all about Worcester Polytechnic Institute.
Hello, everyone. Okay, Jennifer, you'll let me know if this is not working correctly, but hello again. My name is Vera Grech. I use she, her pronouns, and I am one of the counselors at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, or WPI. So WPI is also in Massachusetts. We're about 1 hour away from Boston in the city of Worcester, which is the second largest city in New England. So we have been around for quite some time, founded in 1865. But today our population is about 4,700 undergraduate students and about 2,000 graduate students. At the undergraduate level, we are 40% female identifying, with 14% identifying as underrepresented in STEM and 8% international. Our university is completely STEM in business. That is our focus. So we have 12 different engineering majors. About 2/3 of our students study some form of engineering, though our most popular major is computer science. It's not one of the engineerings. So the top 4 are computer science, mechanical engineering, robotics engineering, and biomedical engineering. We are actually the first university in the United States to offer robotics engineering at the bachelor's level, and currently the only university to offer robotics engineering as bachelor's, master's, and PhD. If you know you're interested in STEM, but don't know specifically what in STEM, you can enroll undecided. About 20% of our students do. And that is because when we read your application, we read to make sure that you're a good fit for WPI overall, not just for that one specific major. Once you're in the school, you can switch your major at any time. Of course, the later you do it, the harder it could be to complete all the graduation requirements in time, but there is a lot of flexibility built in. About 1 in 10 students has a double major. About 1 in 3 has a minor, with business being our most popular minor. And we do have accelerated programs that you can earn your bachelor's and master's in 4 years, though 5 is more typical, but it is faster still than the traditional 6 years for the 2 degrees. So we have project-based learning at WPI. As I mentioned, we were founded in 1865, though about 50 years ago, the administration, we took a hard stop to say, how can we reinvent the way we're delivering the STEM curriculum to make sure that, that our students are really getting prepared for what they will face once they graduate. Our decision was to implement project-based learning. So it wasn't just adding projects to the existing model of the school. Instead, we reinvented how a lot of things were done. For instance, instead of having a semester system where we take maybe 5 or 6 classes over 14 weeks, we do 3 classes over 7-week terms. So we are on a quarter system where we're really focused on 3 things at a time. So that way, if you are working on a project, you're not having to balance that with multiple other courses, just 2 others. We also changed our grading policy to make it a non-punitive grading policy with flat grades, so no pluses and minuses in our grades. That means when you're working on groups, you're focusing on how to collaborate better because, getting 2 points higher than your peers won't really set you apart. You really focus on that final project that you're working on instead. The big impact were the big projects, which also include these global projects that I have on this slide. So in the junior and senior years, students have to complete these large scale projects in order to graduate. Junior year is going to be focused more on interdisciplinary work, while senior year is really focused on your major. Each one of these projects takes the place of 3 classes, which is again why we have our quarter system. So if you're only doing a project, so that's 3 classes, for 7 weeks, you can leave campus. So during the school year, our students will go to any of these 50 locations around the world where they're going to be physically working with their sponsor. So they're all sponsored by government agencies, by companies, by nonprofits. The students do the work for them, it's implemented in the community, and then they come back to WPI after those 7 weeks. So this isn't something that's added on. It's not something that you have to spend your summers doing, but this is built in for all of our students to accomplish during the school year. And everyone does receive a scholarship to help afford the cost of the flights and have some spending money. So our students are going to be working very closely with the Career Development Center as well. So we have over 400 different companies that come to recruit on campus to help them with internships, co-ops, and full-time employment after graduation. In terms of campus life, we are a residential campus. So all first-year students do live on campus. After that point, it's their decision if they want to move off campus or stay on. But we do have a lot of different resources, including things such as gender inclusive housing, gender neutral bathrooms. We have a first generation to college kind of living community. Our Office of Multicultural Affairs helps with a lot of the different affinity groups we have on campus, such as the Black Student Union or OSTEM, which is out in STEM for our students who identify as LGBTQIP+. In terms of clubs, organizations, and sports, we are NCAA Division III. We have over 30 different music ensembles, art clubs, we have Greek life. So there is really something for everything. And then I'll kind of breeze through the end here. We are on the common application. We have both binding and non-binding early rounds. We are test blind, so we do not use any form of SAT or ACT in our testing process, and there's no application fee. In terms of scholarships and aid, you don't have to apply for a merit scholarship, though you do for need-based, and we do have scholarships for robotics. And that takes me to the end as Jennifer has turned on her video. So I know that it's my cue that 6 minutes are up. Thank you, everyone. And I'll put my email in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vera, for presenting on Worcester Polytechnic Institute. And as she mentioned, we want to encourage all of our attendees to keep an eye on the chat throughout the event tonight so that you can get emails or links to admissions websites, whatever our representatives choose to share, so that you can follow up. Remember, 6 minutes is just a sneak peek. And also the Q&A box. It's awesome. We were already getting some questions in there. So we hope that you will all continue to add questions to that Q&A for our representatives to answer throughout the event tonight. All right, well, I'm really happy to hand it over to our third school this evening. We're going to be hearing about the Olin College of Engineering.
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to get this presentation started if it's going to start. Okay, cool. So my name is Tori Moore. I am the Assistant Director of Admission at Olin College of Engineering. Super excited to be here today. So Olin College is located in Needham, Massachusetts, which is about 10 or 15 miles outside of Boston. Great place to go to college. As I'm sure you may know, Boston is known as kind of a college town, but we still get that campus vibe. So it's a little bit of the best of both worlds. On this slide is kind of a nice, aerial picture of our campus. So a lot of green space. We have a lot of wooded area in the back. So regardless of kind of how you like to spend your extracurricular time, there's a little bit of, city and non-city both ways. So one of the things about Olin that, is kind of a defining thing is our small size. So we are 330 undergraduate students. So that is not per grade, that is in total. So each graduating class is just about 86 students, which is probably smaller than your high schools or just about that size. In addition, another kind of distinguishing factor about Olin is that we are an incredibly mission-driven institution. So we really want to help kind of like train and inspire engineers who are innovators and see engineering kind of in this broader social context and want to use their engineering and technical expertise to help solve and address issues in the world. So another benefit of our location is that we are part of what is called the BOW collaboration. That is a 3-college collaboration with Babson and Wellesley College. Babson is one of the best business schools in the country, and Wellesley is a rigorous women's liberal arts college. So at Olin, you can cross-register in courses at either of these other institutions, which our students overwhelmingly do. You can also use their resources such as their dining halls and their gyms. You can also join clubs and extracurriculars and club sports at those other institutions. So kind of takes our small size of 330. We're also an entirely residential campus, but it takes that small size and makes us part of kind of this larger undergraduate community. So at Olin, we really adopt this, specific project-based learning, which I know is kind of everyone's doing project-based learning because it works, that's why. But specifically our small size kind of facilitates that project-based learning and makes it so that you're really close to your peers and to faculty also as well. If you're someone who is interested in doing undergraduate research, this could be a really good fit because the faculty are specifically, just focused on you. We don't have master's or PhD students. Very common for our first years to get involved with research. So it's not something you have to wait until you're further along in your undergraduate career, but you can really kind of get your hands dirty early on. Also, just like to know, you graduate with a portfolio of anywhere between 20 and 30 projects, which is pretty significant. It means that everything you do is very much project-based instead of lecture-based. Like I said, the project-based learning, we also really focus on practical applied skills and doing this in teams. So studies have shown working on diverse teams is really what, particularly in STEM fields, leads to a better result. Also kind of interesting about Olin is, are your transcripts going to look a little different? So we actually don't offer like Calc 1 or Calc 2 or Physics 1 or anything like that. You're still learning all of those disciplines, but you're doing it in an integrated hands-on way. For example, all first years in their first semester have to take a class called Modeling and Simulation of the Physical World, where you're learning Python and you're using calculus in order to do mathematical modeling. So it's kind of combining these different disciplines into one course. And that's really emblematic of kind of all the courses you take. We don't keep things siloed, we push it together. However, even though we are in engineering, we're STEM only in terms of majors, we still very much want our students to kind of have this rigorous, well-rounded curriculum that has design, arts, humanities, social sciences, and entrepreneurship. We really see that entrepreneurship mindset as going hand in hand with an engineering mindset as well. We technically have 3 majors at Olin: mechanical engineering, electrical and computer engineering, and then engineering with a concentration. So the flexibility, even though I say we have 3 majors, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of that last one, the engineering with a concentration. So we have a handful of kind of pre-designed ones in design, computing, which is our take on a CS degree, but with more like hardware components to it, robotics, bioengineering, and then our newest concentration is in sustainability. There's always new things added to the curriculum. It's exciting to be at Olin because of that. However, if none of that seems like what you want to be doing, we do have that self-designed option, which is kind of like the world is your oyster because you can really kind of take charge of your education. Our students have done a wide range of things with that, everything from aerospace engineering to biomechanical engineering to computational robotics. We've had a couple people do like engineering education and educational design, which is really cool as well. So at Olin, one of the other benefits of the small size that I like to know is not only that you are close with faculty and your peers, but you're also really close with staff. So that can help facilitate really great relationships with offices such as our career services, which is called postgraduate planning. They are very proactive in the fact that they will seek you out. They will make sure they know you and you're sitting down with them during your first year to really kind of plan how you can set yourself up for success after you graduate. So our average starting salary is about $87,000. It's a little different per major, but that's amongst all the majors and our students who graduate. Typically on campus, we have about 100 companies that recruit on campus, which is pretty neat because we only have 86 people graduate at a time, and we do have people move on to get PhDs right out of undergraduate as well. That's also common. So I think it says a lot about the caliber of our students and how excited companies are to work with them. And I'm already there. Our admission process, two-part, no ED, January 1st, Common App or Coalition App, and we meet 100% of demonstrated need.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tori, for sharing Olin with everyone tonight. All right, we're moving on to our fourth school. We're heading next to Boston University.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm Dan Turner, and I'm an assistant director of admissions here at Boston University. I'm just going to get my screen up here. So here at Boston University, we are a large private teaching and research university located right in the heart of Boston, Massachusetts. So what does that mean? I'm going to break it down a little bit more. So large, we have about 16,000 undergraduate students, and we do have over 300 different programs of study across our 10 undergraduate schools and colleges. So there's a lot of academic flexibility. Actually, there's no restrictions on which colleges you can take classes in. And you can combine resources from the different colleges. We really encourage our students to design their own academic pathway. We also have a large, diverse global community, and we do have students from over 90 countries represented on our campus in Boston. We are definitely a teaching university. That's a really important part of our identity. And we have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So our professors are really getting to know our students, and they wouldn't actually be professors at Boston University if they didn't love to work with students, because all of our classes here at BU are taught by professors, and our professors are amazing. They are Pulitzer Prize winners, Nobel laureates, former CEOs and ambassadors, and even one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people on the planet. Those are some of the professors you would be working with here at Boston University. And again, because all of our classes are taught by professors, you can tell that they really wouldn't be here if they didn't love teaching. Another thing to highlight is the average class size of 27, but I can tell you that 80% of classes on campus are below 30 students. So while you might be in a larger lecture hall every once in a while in the classroom, the vast majority of the time you'll be in smaller discussion-based classes. And I can say that's particularly true within the College of Engineering at Boston University. We do have 4 engineering majors, and it's actually one of our smaller colleges. So the average class size in the College of Engineering, I would say, is smaller than 27. The other important part of our identity as a university is that we are a research university. And last year, BU got over $600 million in funding for our research that's going on campus. And it does make a tremendous impact all around the world each year. For instance, we're one of only 2 universities in the country right now that has the lab space required to work with the actual COVID-19 virus. That's in our National Emerging Infectious Diseases Laboratory, which is on our medical center campus. So we've already published 5 studies from the data that was captured in the lab. So really trying to make a difference through the research that's going on at Boston University. And it does go on throughout the 10 schools and colleges. So the College of Engineering also has some amazing research work going on. I know in the biomedical engineering program, they the undergraduates helped to invent a bionic pancreas that has now been developed further by one of the biotech startups in the Boston area. We do make undergraduate research, though, accessible to our students. Starting in your first year, you can take part in the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, which gives $1 million just for undergraduates to support their own research interests. So whether you wanted to sign on to a professor's research project over the summer and give yourself a living stipend, or if you wanted to create your own research project from scratch, and use the funding for materials or a travel budget, you can do that through the undergraduate research program. I'll also mention our innovation pathways for students who are more entrepreneurial minded. We also have funding available in the form of grants for students who have an idea for a startup, a nonprofit, social impact project, or an invention. You can use funding through the Build Lab that we have here at Boston University to take your project and bring it to life. So lots of opportunities. Internships as well are something that a lot of Boston University students are taking advantage of. So a lot of resources here on campus that can help make students stand out upon graduation. In addition to that, though, we do have a very vibrant community here at Boston University. We have over 450 student clubs and organizations, so it's really easy to find those smaller communities within the larger university. My favorite campus tradition is going to check out the hockey games. We are Division I in sports. We compete in the Patriot League. We have 22 other Division I varsity sports in addition to hockey. Moving into admissions quickly, we are holistic in the way we review applications. We are selective though, so we got over 75,000 applications last year, and we were able to admit just over 18% of the students who applied. But it's not only the academics that we're looking at. We are truly holistic in the way we review the application. So we're definitely considering the context behind the students' life experiences, their academic environment, and their background as well. Here's the application checklist for Boston University. We're on the Common App and the Coalition App, and we're also one of the newest QuestBridge partners this year, so you can apply for the QuestBridge application as well. We are completely test optional. There's really no disadvantage to applying without tests to Boston University if you are applying this year. You're still eligible for all of our merit scholarship opportunities as well as all of our academic programs without any standardized tests at all. Here's a couple of deadlines for everyone to see. January 4th is our regular decision deadline, but we are an early decision school as well. So that's an important way you can consider applying if you are very interested in Boston University. November 1st is the early decision 1 deadline, and January 4th is the early decision 2 deadline. And if you do want to be considered for merit scholarships at Boston University, you should apply early, so before December 1st. And then we do meet 100% of financial aid need as well for first-year domestic students. So the financial aid, very important part of that, the application process. We do require the FAFSA as well as the CSS profile, but we use that information to calculate what your family can afford to spend on college for the year and subtract that from our overall cost of attendance and meeting 100% of the rest of that need. So big commitment to affordability here at Boston University. And then finally, lots of ways to stay connected. To be honest, the most helpful resource is probably the website, bu.edu/admissions. Lots of great information on there. And with that, I'll say thank you very much and pass it back over to Jennifer.
Thanks, Dan, so much for sharing about Boston University. All right, the next school we're going to learn about tonight is the Wentworth Institute of Technology.
All right, thank you. And welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. So I'm going to just share my screen quickly. And it's a longer slideshow, so I'm going to skip some of them, but I'm going to bump up to the top here. Again, my name is Pete Nelson. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions at Wentworth Institute of Technology. We are a smaller to medium-sized school right in Boston. We're about 4,300 students. We have 5 schools here: the School of Architecture and Design, the School of Computing and Data Science, the School of Engineering, the School of Management, and the School of Science and Humanities. There are 20 majors that span across this, all kind of have a heavy focus on STEM majors. So our School of Architecture and Design houses architecture, industrial design, and interior design. Our School of Computing and Data Science houses applied math, computer networking, computer science, and cybersecurity. Our School of Engineering houses all of these engineering disciplines. School of Management hires business management, CIS, and construction management. And then the School of Sciences and Humanities houses applied sciences and computer science and society. So what all these majors have in common, so all of our programs are going to be hands-on, project-based, action-oriented. So your average class size is going to be about 18 students. You won't see any big lecture halls. It's all going to be actually hands-on stuff. We are a school where you do apply to a major. You're in that major when you start. So there's going to be a heavy focus on your major. You'll get use of all the labs on campus and all the machinery, fabrication labs, mechanics labs, 3D printers, 3D scanners. So some pretty cool stuff to play with. You get a good foundation in the classroom. So by the time you get to your co-op, and I'll go over co-ops in a second, you have a good understanding of what you'll be doing in the career, in your job. All right. So again, I'm gonna skip ahead all these. So back to co-op. So every major requires 2 co-ops. So you do 1 your junior year, 1 your senior year. What a co-op is instead of classes for those semesters, you are working full-time in the field, and all co-ops are paid. So you're gonna graduate in 4 years with a bachelor's degree and almost a full year of experience, especially if you do the optional one your sophomore year, just about a full year of experience working for a company in the field. And you're going to have a co-op advisor that's going to help you through the whole process. Co-ops are all over the country. So some students do choose to go back to where they're from to do the co-op back there. There is a good chance that one of the companies you do your co-op at does offer you a job when you graduate. So you do want to consider where you might want to live and work after you graduate, but it's a good way to get real experience. It's going to give you a leg up when you're looking for a job. When you're looking at schools, you definitely want to think about return of investment. Right, so on campus here, again, we're a smaller school, 16:1 student to faculty ratio. Average class size is 18 students. We're right in the heart of Boston. We do guarantee housing all 4 years. We are on one 31-acre campus, so we're not spread out throughout the city. We're on one main campus, but since we're on one campus, it feels a little rural, more like a rural campus, even though we are in the heart of the city. And housing is guaranteed even on your co-op. So even though you're not in class, you can live on campus and it is guaranteed housing. Student engagement, we have 70 clubs and organizations on campus. We are a Division III school. We have 18 Division III sports. We have 9 club sports. And then we're one of the colleges of the Fenway, which is a cool consortium. So I know we have some other Boston colleges and universities on here. The other colleges of the Fenway that we partner up with, where you can take classes there and we share some clubs and intramurals and social events, is Manual College, Simmons University, Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Mass College of Art and Design. So you can take classes there. We share clubs, sports, intramural, social events. It was just a big barbecue between all 5 schools. So Boston is absolutely packed with schools. This school consortium, since we are a smaller school, you get the perks of a smaller school, but it opens it up to come. So you get the resources from those 5 schools. Being a smaller school, we do have a lot of support services on campus, whether that be tutoring, academic advisors, faculty mentors, health and wellness accommodations through the Center of Health and Wellness. All right, on to admissions. So we have 3 deadlines: early action deadline 1, early action deadline 2, then regular decision deadline. To complete your application, you should have your high school transcript sent, 2 letters of recommendation, and list all extracurricular activities. We do require pre-calculus for any engineering, computer science, cybersecurity, applied math, or applied science. All other majors require algebra 2. And then we are test optional. So if you took the SAT or ACT, you want to send them our way, we will review them. Our average GPA we're looking for is about a 3.5 on a 4.0 unweighted scale. So you figure a solid B, B+ student. These are average SAT scores and ACT scores, but again, we are test optional. 85% of students do receive financial aid, and every student is considered for a merit scholarship, and that you'll get your merit scholarship in your acceptance letter if you are accepted. All right, this is for any students on here, any rising juniors or sophomores. We are doing some summer programs. I think that brings me to the end here. Now I spoke fast. Hope I got that all in those 6 minutes, but thanks again for defending.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pete, for presenting on Wentworth tonight. All right, we're on to our 6th school. We've been getting some questions in the Q&A. We love seeing them, so we hope all of our attendees will continue to think of questions to ask our participants, and so that our participating schools can help personalize this just a little more for you or direct you to some more information about their campuses. I'm really excited to introduce our 6th school in this 6x6, and that's going to be Tufts University.
Yes, so hello everyone. Just like everyone else, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. My desktop is a mess. Please do not look too closely at it. It gives me a little bit of anxiety, so fun. So hello, my friends. Let's talk about Tufts. Lucky for you, don't really have to think about too hard where we are, because every single school that you heard from today is in Massachusetts, and Tufts is no different. So we are 4 miles outside of Boston, and actually both Medford and Somerville, Massachusetts. The city line cuts right through campus, so you get 2 wonderful communities to be a part of. On our main Medford and Somerville campus, we have majority undergraduate students. We have a robust graduate community, but lucky for you as undergrads, The majority of them are in downtown Boston at our medical school or way out in Western Mass at our Grafton campus for veterinary school. So on our main undergraduate campus, again, right outside of Boston, we have, again, about 6,000 undergrads. So we are considered more of a mid-sized research institution. We are also a liberal arts college. So what that means is you get access to incredible research opportunities as early as your very first year, but you're also in incredibly close-knit, intimate spaces with our faculty, with your other peers. And that lends to a very inclusive, very welcoming campus environment. Tufts students are just nice. They're just collaborative. They want to support, they want to celebrate one another. And a few hallmarks of the Tufts undergrad experience are students who are very civically engaged, socially engaged, and it's a very interdisciplinary place as well. Tufts has 3 undergraduate schools. So if you're thinking about STEM, you will probably be in the School of Arts and Sciences, which houses the majority of our 150 different majors and minors, everything from the humanities to the social sciences to the hard sciences. We do also have our full School of Engineering with about 1,000 students on our campus. For this year's incoming class of engineers, 49% of them identify as women, 48% are students of color. And when you're looking at the overall population of engineering, 46% of our students identify as women. So our School of Engineering is an incredibly collaborative place where students are not competitive. This is a place where on every single problem set that you are asked to complete, the very first question is going to be, who did you work with on this? From the get-go, you are going to be in those interdisciplinary project-based classes. And then every single one of our engineers in all 16 of our engineering majors are required to complete a senior capstone. And then we do actually have a fine arts college. So if you hop over the river, if you're heading to like Wentworth or BU, you are going to be on the same side of the river as our fine arts program. So the School of the Museum of Fine Arts is actually right across the street from the Museum of Fine Arts. We have about 300 students getting their fine arts degrees. Again, since Tufts is an incredibly interdisciplinary place, regardless of the school that you apply to and are accepted into, arts and sciences, engineering, or School of the Museum of Fine Arts, you can take classes outside of your major and outside of your school. I say that specifically because I feel like there's really cool overlap and a lot of overlap, especially between engineering and art. One of my favorite classes is actually co-taught by an SMFA sculpture professor and a mechanical engineering professor on biomimicry, so using nature as inspiration for what you are creating. So again, you do apply to one of those 3 undergraduate schools, but regardless of the school that you apply to, even engineering, you come in undecided because we think it's kind of chaotic to be like, hey, do you want to major in colonialism studies or electrical engineering right this very second when you are just trying to figure out college and life? So in engineering, you have a semester and a half to figure things out. And then in the School of Arts and Sciences, you have 2 years to figure things out. And I have this other picture because, hey, pre-COVID, yay, tiny classes. This is more so what it looks like now. You are spaced out, but you're still in a smaller classroom space. For research, again, we are a tier 1 research institution, meaning that we actively want students to have access to research opportunities. 60% of our undergrads choose to do research by the time they graduate, and we have many paid opportunities like our Summer Scholars Program for students to get funding for doing projects that they are excited about. And again, you are not limited just to your major or just to your school. If you are a student who wants to study the mass movement of refugees through Macedonia as tied to national policy, you can do that. We have had environmental engineers do just that. For campus life, there's always something to do on campus. Again, people are nice, they're welcoming. We have over 300 student clubs and organizations. So however you see yourself exploring during your time in college, know that it will be well supported. We also have a lot of community spaces on campus, even outside of the residence halls. We have what are called our DSDI centers, our Division of Student Diversity and Inclusion, which includes our Africana Center, Asian American Center, Latinx Center, LGBT Center, Women's Center, Center and FIRST Center for first generation of college students, low income students, and undocumented students. And I pulled this from a presentation I did in the spring with students newly admitted to Tufts and just asked, hey, why Tufts? And as you can see, a lot of them just were really drawn to the type of community that we have here. Again, very socially conscious, engaging, interdisciplinary. People know that they can really explore a lot of different things while they're at Tufts. Very importantly, we do meet 100% of demonstrated need for all of our students, regardless of citizenship status. So that does include our undocumented friends, documented friends, and international friends. If your family makes less than $60,000 a year, you will have no loans in your package, which is essentially going to be the equivalent of a full ride to Tufts. So at the end of the day, we're nice people, we're collaborative, we want to make change at the local and global level, and overall, we're very humble. And when thinking about the application, Coalition, QuestBridge, or Common App are all ones that we accept.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Becky, for presenting on Tufts tonight. All right, we've reached almost the end of our time together, but we have a time for at least one Q&A question live. So I'd love to invite everybody back on screen to hear some advice. So these admissions pros are not just experts on their schools, but they really know the process and love working with students and families throughout this whole search experience. I like to think of it like a journey. It puts a more fun spin on it, right? So I'd love to have one representative from each school answer the question that you see on the screen. So what is a piece of advice, a top tip that you would give someone going through the college search process? And we're going to go in the exact same order that you presented. So we're going to start with Massachusetts Maritime Academy, and then we'll just work our way through in the same order. When the person ahead of you finishes, just feel free to turn your microphone back on and answer. I won't call on you in that short little time of transition. So thanks, Joanne, for starting first.
Sure, two pieces of advice, actually. The first one is stay organized, because it sometimes gets very crazy keeping track of all of these places, so a spreadsheet works. And the second thing, from a personal standpoint to all of you, is remember you have value in this process. It seems very evaluative for you being evaluated, but remember you bring a lot to the table.
So my piece of advice is if you're trying to see if the school's a good fit for you, talk to some of the current students. I think we're all pretty much doing virtually now. You don't even have to come to campus. Ways to engage with our current students, whether they're official things like through our admissions office or just joining the Discord channel as well. And I think most schools at this point probably have an official or an unofficial one. So it's a good way to see what it's like to be a student at the school.
Yeah, great advice so far. I echo everything. I guess my piece of advice would be that this is a really stressful time. Kind of like Joanne said, there's a lot happening and you can feel very much like there's a lot of pressure on you. So take the time to check out the schools that you're interested in, but also make sure that you're taking time for yourself during this process and feeling kind of like mentally good and taking care of yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, I would echo what everyone else said and add on to definitely use your resources as well. So I think there's a lot of people out there who want to help you, whether you're using your showing your college essay to your science teacher or talking to your counselor about an early decision or early action might be a better choice for you, or listening to these really wise admissions professionals and their advice that they're giving you. There's a lot of people who are willing to help. So don't be afraid to ask for it and to use the resources you have available.
Yeah, so like everyone said, I would ask questions to the admissions office, reach out to the admissions office, keep attending things like this, like these virtual things. Most schools will be having virtual stuff. We're doing in-person stuff too, but you don't have to visit campuses at first, kind of when you're rounding it down to what you think you really like, what schools are going to be your best fits. Attending all the virtual options is great.
I very much agree and echo what everyone said, so ditto. But also I think just keep an open mind in this process and trust yourself. I think that sometimes students can get so excited about one school in particular that they can forget that there are thousands of schools in the US and there's no one perfect fit for any one person. There's a lot of schools out there with a lot of different ways to give financial aid, with a lot of different ways to support their students. So just make sure sure that you have an open mind as you come across a lot of different programs that might be really great for you.
These are so many great tips. I was just nodding along because you hit on so many of my favorites. And I hope that one thing that everyone watching, whether it's live or the recording later, takes away is that these admissions representatives are, they are an amazing resource. They're friendly. They want to answer questions. There's no question too big, too small, too strange. They've heard it all. They want to connect you with the people and the experiences and the opportunities on their campus. So know that they're here as a resource for you and your families, and just really take advantage of that, build that relationship. So I hope this gives you insight that they are friendly, fun people that are excited to work with you and share what they have to offer on their campus. All right, so we have reached the end of our time together. So first of all, thank you to all of our representatives for presenting not just the facts and figures of each of their campuses, but also the just the passion, the energy, the excitement that you have. It's so fun to get to hear that tonight. Thank you to everyone who's watching, whether live or not. I hope this is a great help for you in your college search and decision journey and has inspired you to check out each of these schools more, because remember, 6 minutes, it's just a sneak peek. All right, now for the housekeeping. When you close your window, there's going to be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We would appreciate any feedback that you can provide. And we encourage you to check back on the registration page, check out the schedule to sign up for more sessions. We have one more round of the 6x6 College Fair. And then in the coming days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, there are info sessions and panels being hosted by CACHET. You can sign up for all of that on the same website where you signed up for this tonight. And finally, you'll be able to find this session's recording and all session recordings at that same website. You can see that on your screen, strivescan.com/CACHET. Again, thank you everyone for being here, and hope you have a wonderful evening, day, and good luck in your college search and decision journey. Bye.